Hey everybody, it is me, Courtney Francois, here with another episode of Conversations with Francois. So today we have my co-host, Kevin Barnes from Outlaw Radio. He is going to join me to talk about trauma dealing with black men, trauma in the black community, and basically just get his perspective on trauma as him being a black man and from an older generation. I want to get somebody a little younger as well, but it's cool. We got Kev. He just seen some shit we haven't seen. So we're gonna get his point of view on trauma. How are you, Kev?
I am good. I'm happy to be here. It's a cold, blustery Sunday. The Packers won, so I'm in a good mood. I'm always in the mood to talk. So, like they say, let's chop it up.
All right. So let's talk about the word trauma. So trauma, in the definition, is an emotional response to a terrible event, like an accident, a rape, natural disaster, or just something traumatic happening in your life in general. So when I think of trauma, I guess I wanted to talk about trauma as far as the black man and the stance from a black man, the type of trauma that y'all experience, the type of trauma that you see in your day to day life that the average person probably wouldn't see. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what you go through. I know what I go through, but I don't know what you go through. So
Well, I think in terms of when we talk about black men, we talk about an existence that's continuously and consistently tense, right? So, for a very long time, as a black man, I know in order to go out the house, there were certain things in the community that I had to be very aware of. The first thing was my own community and the dangers in my own community. And then there was obviously the police. And then there was the whatever racist kind of perpetrators who were there to like inflict damage on the community. But as a black man, it's also some of the things that exist in your environment, like drugs or alcohol or violence and stuff like that, like gun violence. It's a whole bunch of extracurricular things that you have to deal with as a black man. As a matter of fact, I've often theorized that one of the reasons we're so afflicted by diabetes, which is basically hyperactivity of the pancreas, is because you stay on alert as a black man. And we know when you go into fight or flight, your body secretes hormones, basically testosterone or adrenaline, and it keeps you at a heightened sense. So as a black person, you're in this fight or flight mode consistently forever. So eventually, yeah, your pancreas says, "Look, enough is enough. I'm tired. I'm wore out. I need some help." So that's one of my theories. But yeah, I mean, I of course, as a black man, my uncle used to tell me you got to be aware. You can't be no square. So obviously, as a black man, yeah, you got to keep your head on a swivel at all times. I wouldn't assume it's that much different from what a sister goes through, but you know, I guess that's why we're here having this conversation.
yeah, I mean, I guess when it comes to our traumas, a lot of our stuff is emotional abuse from our moms, which a lot of guys have dealt with as well. Not so, I don't know about your generation, but we have a lot of issues with our mothers. We don't really have fathers. It's a lot of sexual abuse. It's a lot of boyfriends in and out the household or situations with boyfriends. So, we have a lot of sexual harassment and shit we deal with every day. It's and I mean, y'all do too, but sometimes y'all kind of like it. I don't know. When it come to work and chicks, all but sometimes we don't. We don't want to hear that shit. We don't want y'all trying to grab our ass on the regular, but some people do. But when I think about trauma care, if you think back to your past or just think throughout your life, what is your earliest experience with trauma that you could think of, or something that traumatized you? Was it crack? Look, like I know you grew up in that era. I know that shit was traumatizing. Like, damn, everybody fucked
Well,
up.
but see, I grew up in a different generation of parents. See, my parents were older Southern parents. And I want people to think I'm like 70 years old. I know Courtney makes me seem like I'm some kind of runaway slave or something, but I'm 46 years old. I don't know. I don't know if people feel like, damn, he geriatric. I don't know, but
My bad, yeah.
that's all good. It's all good. I'm a proud Gen Xer. You know what I'm saying? I've been a young man. I have no desire to be a young man. I'm glad I made it this far. But what I was trying to say was the era I came up in, we got what you call ass whoopings. There was really no framework for child support. I mean, child abuse or stuff like that. So like in my generation, your parent put it on your ass. They put hands on you. That was the norm, and you would get a whooping with any belt, extension cord. I know people in my age group say Hot Wheel track, and I don't people don't remember what that is, but when I was young, Hot Wheels, the little cars, they used to come in play sets, and there was orange plastic tracks that you would put together, and each one had a piece. I don't know about this long each part, and your parent would whoop your ass with it, or
Ouch.
house shoe or whatever. So you know, I grew up with the notion that if you mess up, you get beat up, right? So if you drop something, you break something, you disobey, bow, just that quick. So I don't know if that kind of I don't know if that desensitized me from certain things, certain, like violence and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, some of my earliest memories is being in Kmart as a little kid getting kicked in my ass. Like my mother's thing was she kick you in your ass, and especially in the store.
Dang.
Like if she tell you don't do something, you bow, you up off the ground. So that's early memories, but it was other stuff. It was, it was other stuff. But and so that's something that a lot of us deal with from my generation, because we said, well, I'm not gonna do that to my kids. I'm not gonna treat my kids like that. And
Right.
so right now the debate is maybe we shouldn't have stopped. But I do know now kids will go and kind of report you, and you'll get investigated and
I
stuff like
reported my
that.
mama. Ooh, I did.
Yeah,
Luckily, she
see,
had money.
yeah, you wouldn't have reported my mother. You wouldn't have reported her because it would have been bad. I mean, listen, those, and I understand it better now that my parents grew up in the Jim Crow South. So they grew up picking cotton in Mississippi in the 40s and the 50s and the 60s. So their parents beat the living crap out of them. And so that's what they knew. So it wasn't like they hated us, but it was like, well, in terms of teaching my kid discipline, this is what we do. This is how I'm gonna teach you. And I always say that that's kind of like a post-traumatic slave disorder type thing. That the only way you can teach a black person something is to beat the hell out of them. I mean, look at what the cops do when they say you ain't do what I said do. You think about how close that is in terms of police misconduct and police abuse, because they say now the mantra is he should have just obeyed. It's like my parents would have said when you say, why you hit him with an extension cord? He should have done what I told him to do. Right. So close parallels in that.
Yes.
But, like you said, 10 years old, it was for me the beginning of the crack era. And I did see a lot of things, hear a lot of things that I probably shouldn't have. I don't think they really traumatized me though. I don't feel like I was traumatized by it. Perhaps I was. I don't feel like I was though. So
Okay.
it's mostly the ass whoopings. And I remember my mother was cooking like chitlins or something in a pressure cooker, and the pressure cooker blew up, and she suffered severe burns. I think I might have been traumatized by that, like seeing my mother burned by the pressure cooker, or um, my mother had a fight one time with one of my cousins, and my cousin, she had mental health issues. She kicked in the door and came in the house and really got at moms. And I
She
seen that.
kicked
And
in the door.
yeah, she kicked
I
the
remember
glass
that
out the
too.
door.
Oh,
Yeah,
dang.
yeah. I don't.
Yes.
Once again, I don't know if these are traumatizing events. I don't, because I wasn't shook behind. I wasn't like, oh God. After that, I was just like,
It was
damn,
just
that's
like, damn.
crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
yeah. It's like, whoa, like,
Right.
shit get real around here. So yeah, yeah. And it might be different from me. I'm sure all of our experiences vary. But yeah, I think the black man lives in a constant state of trauma. I think he's. I mean, because you are aware of what happened in the past, you are aware of what's happened to you. You looking at what's going on now, so you're always kind of like, oh man, I don't like. Whoa, I need to take a deep breath. So
So, how do you think that the trauma black men go through and deal with on a day to day, or maybe if it isn't day to day, week to week, month to month, how do you think that affects um their working conditions or their relationships, their household? How does that trickle over into those things or affect those things?
I think if you haven't dealt with whatever issues you have, okay, so if you were raised in a home where you were abused or you were sexually abused or whatever, if you lock that away and think I'm going to just ignore it and I'll be okay, you're making a mistake. I think the first thing you have to do is deal with yourself. meaning you have to understand your triggers. Okay, so I can tell you this: one of the things that traumatized me as an adult, that I can look at and say this is probably the most definitive traumatic event, is the death of my mom. Okay, and I was 30 some years old, but I wasn't ready for it, and the way it happened, I I went to a dark place for a while after my mom passed. So around during the holiday season, a lot of times to see a picture of my mom, and my father passed in 1999. So to see a picture of them together during the holiday season is a trigger for me, because it gets me depressed. So, but I know that. I recognize it. So what I try to do is deal with it head on and say, it doesn't really matter how depressed you get or how down you get about it. It is what it is. There's no way around it, right? So, but I think people, we have to really deal with us. So if you've been sexually harassed or abused, or a lot of people have insecurities, and a lot of people's behavior is motivated by their insecurities. Just your knowing yourself, your worth, your own worth, regardless of what people wear and what they drive or where they live. A lot of people are not happy with who they are on the inside, right? Like, so usually if you ain't really happy on the inside, and if you don't love yourself, and I mean love yourself unconditionally, meaning that you're honest with yourself, you deal with yourself, um I think then, yeah, it affects everybody around you, because it manifests in different kinds of behaviors. They say hurt people, right? So like,
Yes.
if I'm not if I'm already dealing with a whole bunch of internal stuff, and along comes a little kid who just messed up, bow, it ain't no thing for me to just smack the kid, just grab my girl, choke her, grab my wife, choke her. Yeah, you gonna hear me today. If I have unresolved issues, that is,
Right.
I don't really have those issues at this point, but I can understand people who have these demons. So you try to self-medicate. So you want to get high, you want to get drunk, um, you need an escape. So yeah, I think that's the way that trauma kind of affects your behavior, because a lot of people are getting drunk and high just because it's the only time of the day when they really ain't feeling the anxiety, or they don't feel like that self-doubt. I'm not one of those people who doubts myself, because and I feel like I am who I am, you know,
Right.
skinny, tall, short, whatever. If I run across somebody who doesn't like me for whatever reason, it don't bother me, because I switch it. I say, well, I don't like you either, and I move on. I don't say I need to change so I can make that person like me, or I need to lose weight. So, because if you don't like fat me, you won't like skinny me. It's the same dude, right? Like,
Right.
so I
Right.
just I just think you have to, and maybe that's the advantage of getting older. You get to the point where you can reflect a little bit and say, well, who am I really? What do I really like? Sometimes you've been doing a lot of shit for a long time that you don't like,
Yeah.
to please somebody else, right? Like, I don't even like this. Why am I doing this, right? So why am I wearing this, or why am I talking like this? So I think that's the main way. Now, some people need professional help.
Yes.
We talk about therapy on Outlaw Radio. We talk about therapy, and black people just, for a lot of cultural reasons, we don't really put a whole lot of stock into therapy. Like going to sit down with somebody saying, well, I personally don't, but that doesn't mean it's ineffective. That doesn't mean some people don't. Some people actually need it. So yeah, get some therapy. Get to know yourself. Um, I always say the best way to get to know yourself is to get totally nude and stand in the mirror and just look at yourself. Because one thing about it, when you naked, you super vulnerable. Okay. So if you can stand in the mirror and just look at yourself and say, hey, it's it. This me right here. It doesn't matter what I put over this or how I dress this up. This really me right here. So that's kind of like a step that and I learned that in psychology, by the way, when I was in college. Like, just get,
Really not.
yeah,
I
strip
do that on the
down.
regular. I need psychology to be naked in the mirror. You know what I'm
Okay. Believe it or not, it has some therapeutic value too, though, because everybody has a flaw somewhere, and
saying?
and you can conceal it, and you can say, oh man, I don't nobody know I got an extra toe. So I keep socks on around, come out with your sandals on one day with your extra toe out. And somebody, oh damn, look at your toe. You say, man, yeah. I mean, I got 6 toes on one foot. Like, you really got to know yourself. That's my point. Like, get to be comfortable with who you are, because if it's something you want to change, once you're comfortable with it, you can confront it. But if you're in denial of it, then you ain't gonna never, you'll never, because you may be able to say, you know what? I feel like I'm gonna go to the doctor and get this toe removed. And that might help you as opposed to just hiding it forever. And then one day somebody see it and call you on it, you like super embarrassed, like, oh no, why they do me like that? So yeah.
Okay, Kev. So I guess I want to move on to something that I feel like we are all kind of traumatized by systemic racism. I think it got us all fucked up just a little bit. You know what I'm saying? But us as black folks, there is a lot of Stockholm syndrome going on. So it confuses me. I mean, it's a lot of PTSD. It's a lot of. Do you think that trauma is inherited? Do you think it's in our DNA? You think that shit is passed down?
I think going through some of the things that we've encountered as people of color, it has to be in our DNA. There's no way that, because a baby in the mother's womb is basically experiencing what the mother's experiencing. If she's under fear, if she's scary all the time, scared, and if she's hungry, if she's drinking a lot of alcohol, whatever, it reflects on the baby. So I believe generations after generations of us going through all the hell we've been through, no doubt it's in our DNA. No doubt it is. I don't see how it couldn't be. Just like entitlement and that's, I feel like that's in white people's DNA. I feel like they feel entitled. They feel like, yeah, well, I'm deputized. I'm going to make a citizen's arrest, or I know I'm going to stop him. Hey, buddy, you're too loud. Like, I feel like that's in their DNA as well, because for
Right.
generations after generations, that's kind of been what they've done. They've tried to, administrate everything. So, yeah, I believe trauma is in our DNA. Absolutely. And that's why you hear me say all the time, for black people, it's systematic, but it's systemic as well, because we know that there's a systematic nature to racism in our country, but we've kind of eaten that. It's part of our community. It's the culture of dysfunction. You're in our neighborhoods, in our communities, and some crazy stuff happening. People say that's just how it is in the hood. Well, no, that shouldn't. That's unacceptable behavior. We shouldn't say that's just how it is, or well, you know how niggas is. Like, those kinds of things we say to each other all the time.
Right.
It's like it's systemic. It's in us. We get in the club, we get in the bar, we get to partying, and sooner or later, enough alcohol, what's gonna happen? Bang bang, shoot them up, right?
Sometimes, little fights. Sometimes crying. It just depends on who there. Some niggas just cry. I love you, cuz. It depends.
It could be that, but the behavior changes. I'm not saying alcohol doesn't have something to do with that, but I'm saying, we got some and some of that self-esteem, that some of those self-image issues have to do with the way we're presented in the media. So that's systemic. What they actually teach you is cool versus what's not, because for a long time they told us, well, it was funny because black people had big lips, right?
Right.
But what do? They go and get collagen put in their lips so their lips can be bigger. They told us, being dark skinned or being brown skinned, oh my God. But what do? They go get tans in a tanning salon. For years, black women were looked at, oh, look at her butt, and she's so nice, she's curvy. I don't know. White women, no, you need to look like a white woman who is flat as a board, and. But what's going on now? Now they even cut the jeans differently. It's more white girls twerking on the internet now than ever. Like,
Right.
so for so long they beat us down about this kind of stuff, our music. But what do? They turn around and they take it over. Whatever we do, they copy it and tell us that is bad or it's embarrassing to do. So that's a mind screw job too. So I think we got to be aware of that. So when you talk about systematic racism, you better believe, it has a big effect on where we are right now mentally, and how much trauma we encounter.
Indeed. So, are you a person that believes the experiences we've gone through, the trauma we've been through, that it makes us stronger? Because some people kill themselves. You know what I'm saying? It don't make everybody stronger now.
Yeah, I'm like I said, everybody's wired differently. Um, at the time when I was talking about my mom like being really a heavy-handed disciplinarian, I felt like in a strange, crazy way she was doing it because she loved me and she wanted to make sure I understood things that I had boundaries. But at the same time, she taught me nobody else can do this to you. You see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, I whoop your ass, but you don't let nobody else even put their hands on you. I say what I want to say to you, but you don't allow nobody else to disrespect you. So at the same time, I guess it was teaching me trauma over here, but resistance over here. So
Right.
I'm wired a little bit different. You right. I'm not the dude that's gonna be like gonna kill himself or nothing like that. But people do. They talk about bullying and people. So, they kill. When I was growing up, that's another thing. You got ribbed on. That was just part of it. You walked out the house, somebody said something. Oh, look at his shoes. Oh man, I know cats used to come out top notch with the name brand, everything, and still get ribbed on. You still ugly. You can put on whatever you want. You still ugly. It's like
Right.
so now they call it bullying, and kids are like, oh, they called me fat my whole life, and they just like, yeah, but you is fat though. Like
Right. It's the truth, goddamn it.
I always felt like if all you had for me was a fat joke, you was about to lose because I'm about to get at you. I'm about to get at you. I'm about to rib you down. That's another thing we learned too is give it back to them. You want to rib on me? I got something for your ass. So and
Right.
so but a lot of us don't get those lessons. I think if anything, that's where having those old school parents like I had, this is why they're missing out now. I think a lot of kids parent some kids got parents who just shouldn't be parents.
Very true.
Yeah, it's some people who just them two should have never got together and had a kid. Like, and I hate to put it like that, but that's reality. Like, what? Why y'all have a baby? Like, so yeah, I wish people could get help. I know I've been working in social services and education for about 20 years, and the latest thing is trauma informed care. So when we deal with people, they take into consideration what the people have been through. So if I'm going to help a family, I can't just help with one thing. I have to look out for chemical dependency. I have to look out for possible abuse or whatever. Like you become a mandated reporter. So I've gone in to help a kid who is a felon, just as his case manager. When I get there, his 15-year-old sister's pregnant. So now I got to report that back to child welfare, and they're gonna launch an investigation. Sometimes the family's mad at me, like, why you put them people on me? I don't have a choice. I'm a mandated reporter. So
Right.
yeah, people need people need help. I mean, we need to have these conversations more often. I would have to flip that on you. What are you traumatized by as a sister? Because we talking about black men, but you a black woman. So what are you traumatized by?
Man, wee. That's a lot, Kev. And especially it started, trauma starts at a young age. I feel like my trauma started with my mama. Most of us it started with our moms and them being focused on niggas and not really being parents. So it was a lot of stepdads in and out, a lot of boyfriends, and it's like, goddamn, shit. So it started with that, and then you getting into it with the boyfriends. Next thing you know, the boyfriend's beating you up. Next thing you know, a boyfriend trying to fuck you. You know, you yeah. So trauma when it with females, it starts young. It's different. I mean, we experience different traumas, and also being in the hood and being a teenager and your other teenage friends getting shot. You like, damn, they shot you niggas off 38. Damn, you good? It's. I mean, and I guess it's also a different type of trauma with us being from the black community compared to other races. I'm sure people got they shit going on. Whether it's Latinas and white folks, but we got some whole other shit going on depending on where you stay at and where you raised and the environment. Yeah, and I know
No
it's a lot
doubt,
worse
no
for
doubt.
others.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And you said that, and I didn't even, this is how it's crazy. During the time of me growing up, I don't know how many dead homeboys I actually have. I know it's over 12. I know it's over 14. And these are just cats that I knew who just lost their lives to gun violence or, a street stuff. And I just thought when you said that I lost my cousin, and he was like my best friend. Like, yeah, you got one of those cousins where y'all almost can just like finish each other's sentences. Y'all that tight. And he was killed my senior year in high school. Um, January of my senior year in high school, and I went through a kind of an episode with that. I actually saw his brains, okay, because I went to the scene of the crime, and I went. There was a period where I was, I was dealing with it. I was young, 18-year-old. I was dealing with it, but long term, I can't say that I'm traumatized by that. And I snapped out like after about 6 months, stuff started to happen, and I just moved on. And then I lost a lot of other brothers, from the streets, from the neighborhood after that. But I'm just saying, I'm looking back at that violence amongst us as young people, and I definitely that's something that could have traumatized, and maybe it did because I became quick. As a result of what was going on in the neighborhood, I became an advocate of these. And you can ask anybody who I grew up with. I wasn't going to talk too long. It was going to be about this sooner or later. So, and even in elementary school, a lot of brothers who I went to school with, they said, "Damn, Kev, man, shit, you fight every other day." Like, damn,
God damn it.
maybe it was right. Maybe now because you helping me, right? Like, so maybe now, maybe that was me, acting out because of getting kicked in my ass in Kmart, or watching moms and pops go at it sometimes, and moms just being "Rawr." My mother was one of them ones, right? Like, she wasn't nicest woman in the world, but you get on her bad side, you got a problem. So maybe I was, and maybe it did manifest. Maybe I punched some of these dudes in their face or kicked them in the back of the head. Maybe because of that, I don't know. I've never looked at it as, oh, I was traumatized by Cooley's death, or I was traumatized because my mama beat my ass. But she probably beat my ass because I was doing something stupid. I was playing with fire, set the garbage can on fire in the kitchen. Get your ass whooped for stuff like that in our house. So, man, this is a therapeutic session for me. So maybe I was traumatized, Courtney. I don't know.
Might have been, you know what I'm saying? Because I be, look, sometimes that anger I be feeling from other places, I be willing to kick them up in the face. And what, you want to fight? You got beef? You want to do, you want to do something? So yeah, it'd be,
Yeah, I'm a little old for that now. Like now, I'm really too old to
yeah, I
really
want to see
be
you kicking nobody in the back of the head right now.
I don't
Yeah.
even know if I can get my foot up that high no more. Like, I'm saying, now but I'm so much different now than I once was. Becoming a parent, becoming a husband, working in the community, um, doing some repair in areas that I had at once I was counterproductive, and being a detriment to the community. I got to the point where I put enough work back in as a school teacher, as a mentor, as a football coach, and just working with community-based organizations to help people. I'm a lot more calm now than I used to be, and I'm a lot more like, now I'm just like, you know what? I kind of feel sorry for you. If you're gonna let me walk away, I'll walk away. If you trap me in the corner, yeah, yeah, it comes back out. But and I had this conversation with one of my old friends, and he was talking about that, saying, "Man, you was a wild dude. Like, Kev, nobody ever saw you going the route you took." And I said, the biggest thing that I did was I policed my environment. I stopped hanging around certain individuals. I stopped being in certain places. And not that I had nothing against them, because I love all my homeboys from back in the days, but my life moved on. So it was no need for me to be standing in the hood on the corner with my
Right.
partners. I ain't, I know everybody like to get together when it's hot. We're gonna sit on the porch, drink 40s or whatever, and smoke blunts. I really just don't want to sit on your porch all day and drink and smoke with you. I'm in a different place. I'm not against drinking or smoking, but I'm just saying I'd rather do it differently now. I'm not. It's like, sitting around playing the game all day, smoking out with your guys, and I ain't touched a video game in years. Right? I have no desire to go to my partner's house and play Madden and smoke for hours at a time. It's just not there. So
Right.
I police my surroundings. The cats who come around me now, who are in constant contact with me, they're all positive. They all do positive things. They all move in a certain direction. We're about building. We about raising our children, and trying to grab a hold of something that we can own in life. It's good it's nice to have a good time, but I surround myself with positive people. I don't. If you on that bullshit, I don't rock with you. I'd be like, I'm good, bro. I don't know. I don't need nobody around me now. Man, I got beef with them, bro. We 40. Why you still got beef?
Right.
Old senior citizen beef. Like so but to my brothers that's still doing that, I don't hate you. Brothers say, Kev, you ain't even been in the hood in years. Last time I went to the hood, I got shot at. So
The hood made me feel uncomfortable. That's crazy. We grew up over there, and I don't be fucking around on 33rd and right, 34th. It remind me
wow.
of where Simba Daddy said, "Don't go." I'm not.
Yeah. I,
Like,
yeah. And I'm not from 33rd and right, so I would totally agree with you. Um, never has been a spot where I was gonna be at, but nah, I grew up on 17th and Capitol, which is just a beautiful neighborhood. That's Chocolate City, man. It was when I was young, it was the most beautiful black neighborhood in this city. But Atkinson is Atkinson, and
yes,
and most of my homeboys was on Atkinson, so I learned a lot of stuff from being on Atkinson. And like I said, I still got homies over there who got love for me. I still love them, but there's really no reason I could roll through there. I used to be like, man, I got to go to the hood, hang out, showcase love. I'm doing good. Go over there. Why? Because the reality of it is, if you want to see me, just call me. You can come over here. Nice,
right.
calm, smooth, and safe. But do I want everybody over here? No.
No.
I don't want 8, 9 of my homeboys over here all the time. It's
Mm-mm.
nah, because they eventually one of them is gonna bring drama over here, and so then I'm gonna have to deal with them. So sometimes it's about being where you at, not where you're from. You
Very
know,
true.
so yeah,
Very
uh,
true.
being black is tough. It's tough. It's a thing. It's a tough thing to be a black person because you got so much to deal with and so many things coming at you all the time. Just when you think it's sweet, damn,
Yeah.
now I gotta deal with that. So yeah, it's tough being a black person, black man or black woman. I believe that.
Exactly. As soon as you get a PPP loan, here they come trying to take you to jail and shit. You know what I'm saying? Want their money back.
Yeah,
You know
especially
what I'm saying? As soon as they come up, they want to bring you back down. Like, what? I just got this.
especially when you don't got no business and you got a PPP loan.
I'm just trying to come up and take care of the family.
Yeah,
You
right. I'm
know.
trying to do what they've been doing for years, which is steal something and build a fortune off of it, right?
You
Like so,
know, we always got to get
yeah,
caught. They ain't gonna let us do it for free. No.
yeah. I've had so many brothers justify crazy shit to me. Like it's like, bro, what was you doing? I was just trying to get mine. Well, you can't get it like that though. No, KFC, there you go with that bullshit. Like,
Look, we trying to get it.
right. Forgive me for being rational, right? So
Oh
I
my
love I
god.
love I love being black and I love black people. I wouldn't trade it for nothing. Somebody asked me that one time, like if you could do it all over again and come back and live your life as a white man, would you? I said absolutely not. Absolutely not. I listen. I have had so much fun and had so many great experiences and so many laughs just growing up in the neighborhood. I wouldn't trade them. I just our food and our culture and just our demeanor and how we are, the essence of us is very, very, very powerful. So I wouldn't trade it because there's nobody that can guarantee me that white people aren't traumatized. As a matter of fact, I know that to be false. White people are traumatized as well. White people have issues that they deal with as well. And I can't stand when black people are under the assumption that all white people are rich. Like if you grew up white, you got money. That's not true. There's a lot of poor white people.
Right.
Um, this is why that's who gets the majority of the welfare in this country, white people. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so stop thinking that white ice is colder than black ice, and that white water tastes better than black water. At the end of the
Exactly.
day, it's
Right,
just
Kev.
water, right? So
Right.
yeah, so if you remove that, and that's what I'm talking about, your insecurities. You've been taught that you're less than from the gate. And sisters get beat down a lot, and I understand that because you grow up in this community and I'm just starting to understand this. The misogyny in our community is heavy. Yeah, bitch, what's happening, bitch? Yeah, hoe. Yeah, you understand me? Like I'm talking about my guys who, like for us, for a minute, the pimp was a hero. Like, oh, dude, this pimping, he got like 8 women. He said he ate deep with no sleep. Yeah, this dude is probably got minors and probably beating on women and doing heaven knows what. We said, that's who I want to be. Or the dope dealer. You got money. I'm having bread, but you putting poison in your community. You got pregnant women and disabled, mentally ill people on drugs, and you don't even care. Murders up, the violence up, the robberies up. We say, dude, a baller. That's a real nigga right there. Yeah, he is a real nigga. That's what he is.
Right.
So we just, we our self-worth is, we got to get over that we're less than. I wouldn't, I don't like black women to buy into negative stereotypes or negative imagery and then try to put it on brothers like myself who don't believe that. Oh, let me guess. Some of y'all just bitter. A lot of bitter black women. And I know it's shaped by their experiences, but just like it's some brothers who got mommy issues. Like they don't need a girlfriend, they need another mama. But it's some sisters who, like, you stop liking men, so you start dating a woman who looks like a man. I've never
Mm-hmm.
understood that logic. Like, if she was a dude, you wouldn't talk to her. You'd say she was ugly. You see what I'm saying?
And then
Like,
they be acting like dudes, so you might fuck around and get played anyway. You know,
that's right. Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
yeah. Dog chases tail in a circle, not in a straight line. It's so funny because he's just in the circle. You'll never catch your tail, right?
Mm-hmm.
But he's, to him, I'm gonna catch that motherfucker one day. I'd like to know what he gonna do when he catch the tail, right?
Right, that's what I was just thinking. Is he gonna bite it? What are you gonna do? What
He's gonna be so disappointed. Like,
fuck himself up?
first of all, it hurt it. This whole time that's what this is. It's weird logic. It's weird logic. So yeah, trauma, man. It's a very good topic. I'm glad you talking about that with sisters. Because sometimes, and it's different because women have to have, they have the babies, they have to raise the kids. Sometimes the brothers had a baby and be gone, or he with you and he with his kid, but when you break up with him, he's gone. So you got this baby, you stressed out by this kid, you got all these responsibilities. He out here doing what he does. They start to get mad at all men. Like, yeah, I ain't shit. Y'all ain't shit. And how do they fix that? By getting with another dude who does the same thing. Right.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, you got to start dealing with it.
It creates that cycle sometimes, and it leads to the traumatic cycle in your relationships that it bleeds over into the children. And yeah, that trauma shit, it keeps spilling over to more and more people, and it gets deeper. So
So you said you were traumatized by some of your mother's relationships or whatever. Do you think your kids will look at you and say, man, mama showed they used to mess with a lot of dudes? Like, because sometimes for a brother, that's kind of traumatic too, because he got to say, damn, mom's kind of loose, man.
yeah, right. So no, I made sure that they didn't. If I did, they weren't gonna see anybody. It wasn't gonna be too much meeting people. So it was everything she did that I didn't like. I was like, man, my kids ain't never gonna see that. They're never gonna experience that, and they haven't. So fuck all that. All these
That's what
random
it's
ass
about.
dudes. Someone was con artists, all types of shit. She was loving all these niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, one time I had to drive, then rob the house afterwards. Like, damn. It'd be, see, man. So, like, so yeah, it kind of put me on game. Like, these niggas is real out here. She was from the married dude. He just stole everything. Fuck.
It seemed like it was crack involved there. So
I don't know. Look, fake names and everything. I'm like, how was you dating dude this whole time? You thought his name was Hassan. You was finna marry him. You did. Look, wasn't even his name. I don't know. It's been some shit that has happened, and I just be, I look at my mama, and I was like, what was? Now that she old, now I really gotta watch it, because if you was easily tricked back then, it's easy to trick her now. She wanted the scammers to be on her.
I mean, in a lot of cases, she's a victim.
Yeah.
I mean, and some people want to believe. They want to believe in the nature of people. A lot of women, you say, why was you dealing with dudes? I just, he was nice. I just loved him. Because she just couldn't bring herself to say, hey, this motherfucker shady. Like, but there's people like that, people who they're a little bit gullible, and some people just want to love somebody. Like, some people just want to be in a relationship. You'd be like, dude, come on. They just need somebody. Like, I
Yeah.
just want to be with somebody. Like, I'd be so lonely. Like, you still lonely, and now you ain't got shit in your house. Like,
right.
So
Yeah. So
yikes, yikes, yikes.
yeah,
Um,
man.
yeah, relationships are very tough, and they take a lot. They demand a lot out of each individual involved. So I can see how it would affect the kids. You know, if I'm stressing your mama out, the whole home is stressed. When mama ain't feeling good, the whole house is kind of like, damn. No, nobody really care about daddy and shit. Daddy's sick. Oh well, put him in the room. Put close the door. You know, nobody don't give a shit. That's why you give lavish gifts for Mother's Day. For Father's Day, you make an ashtray out of macaroni and shit. You say, here you go, daddy. No, thank you. You know, nobody really cares about daddy. But you know,
Damn, Kev.
nah, you know they don't.
Y'all
Yeah,
be
you
getting
know.
y'all tools and shit. Don't be acting like that. Y'all be getting your
Now you give
tools
me a
sets so y'all
tool
can
so
work
I
on the
can
house.
right. I can fix your car with the
Right.
tool you bought me, right? Like it's the gift that keep giving. Like, nah, right? Look, I bought you a plunger. So next time I stop the toilet up, you can fix it.
You
Thank you,
know.
baby. You know, and me and be like, oh, thank you, baby. I love you so much. Now I can, unclog your toilet stool. Like, yeah. So
You're
she
right.
gave
Then
me a nice,
you make it seem real
right.
fucked up, Kev. Now
I,
it's like gotta get better gifts out here. Like, you know what, you're right.
well,
Take y'all out to
so
brunch.
it's just like women want to be considered, men want to be considered. So like a lot of women they get, but they don't give, and it becomes I'm a woman, so I should be placed on this pedestal and I should be treat me like a queen. And but you look at how she treat her man, and he's like beaten down and shit. He like an old raggedy slave around the house. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Like, damn, nigga, we free, right? Like, she gonna hear you, boy. She gonna be mad at me. So,
Oh my gosh, Kev.
yeah, it be like that. So, you gotta know your worth. You gotta stand up for yourself. You gotta say, you know what? Um, if somebody victimized me, there's nothing wrong with me. I didn't deserve to be victimized. It's something wrong with the person who victimized me, right? Now
Right.
people say I got raped, but I always felt bad because I felt like it was my fault. Nah, it wasn't your fault. It was the dude who raped you's fault. Something wrong with his ass. He's a sicko. So something needs to happen to him. So you shouldn't, that's why black people don't like critical race theory. They say, hey, make us look like victims. We are victims. We
Yes.
victims of colonialism. We're victims of this racist, the systematic racism and the institutionalized racism in this country. We are entirely victims. It's okay to say that. Like, damn, they played the shit out of us.
Yeah.
We just ain't nobody's victim. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Mm-hmm.
You,
Right.
right. So
Well,
yeah.
Kev, thank you so much for coming on my podcast and talking to me about trauma and the trauma from a black man's perspective and giving me your input on this topic. I'm so appreciative. Thank you so much for hopping on.
Yeah, ain't no big thing. You award winning now. So I gotta, I can say, yeah, I was on there. I know her. People be you get an award, people be like, that's the homie.
You know
You
what I'm
don't even
saying?
know, dude.
I
So
hope it's a real award. I hope it's a real award. I hope it ain't.
yeah, no,
It's
it's
real.
real. Yeah, it's real. Anytime you get recognized for what you do, it's an honor. So congratulations on your
Thank you.
award.
Just in case y'all know I'm getting an award, I'm getting honored for being Courtney Francois. I think. I don't know. But just know I'm going to be there and I'm getting an award. Don't know what it's for, but when I get it, I'm going to let everybody know. Look, we there. We going to receive it.
All
Yes.
right.
But thanks, Kev. And I'm sure you'll be back on here again to talk about another topic. So you have a great night. And thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure y'all share the episode. And I'll see y'all soon.
Go Pack, go, man. All right.